This is the point of contention between us right here. Caio Borralho versus Armen Petrosyan. First off, I think it's very impressive that alone, two fighters who are 2-0 in the UFC combined, right, coming off of their first UFC victories, respectively, get thrown into a co-main event. It's a little confusing to me because when I look at the other just tickets on the card, I guess if you want to call it, man. You're looking at the Said Nurmagomedov versus Douglas Silva de Andrade, even Cynthia Calvillo versus Nina Nunez. Now I know that's probably not going to be super exciting, but name value, it's like, okay, that's a co-main. Even Ayman Zahabi versus Ricky Tercios. Like, you got a lot of different names you could play with. That Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Carl Roberson, brother, that's your sleeper. I mean, that could be a co-main if you're like, talking about violence, right? But nonetheless, this is where we're at. And we do have a very interesting matchup. You have a kind of interesting karate striker in Caio Borralho that also has wicked jiu-jitsu, man. Free spirit tatted across the neck. My man is game. Then you got a Muay Thai specialist, a great striker in Armen Petrosyan, who you'll notice, AJ, actually has a higher ranking in Tapology, nonetheless, has a higher ranking than Caio Borralho. So I find it a little bit interesting because I think that even though he's higher ranked and all that, even though he might be more talented in one aspect of the game, the striking, Caio Borralho is just more well-rounded. He just has more paths to victory throughout the course of a fight. And the one thing that is always going to be difficult about a Muay Thai striker or anybody who is just like flat-footed, you know what I mean, really trying to bring it, sit down on their shots, is when you're fighting a grappler, it's hard to sit down on those shots without the threat of the takedown. What makes you confident about Armen Petrosyan being able to pick up a victory against Caio Borralho in this matchup, AJ?
Man, because Caio Borralho is down for a war. If you watch his last fight against Gadzi Omargadzhiev, he's not the one that got the takedowns.
Yeah.
Gadzi was the one shooting in, getting things going, and then Caio was able to, hit a switch, or even on the second takedown, he just kind of fell on top of him. I'm interested to see how well Caio is at initiating the takedown against a striker. Also, to that point, though, I see an ego battle coming here, man. I see a big dude who's been, highly touting himself up to the UFC brass, saying, I deserve these shots. You guys made me fight at the Contender Series twice. I deserve to be on this, trajectory of the stars. Now he's co-main event. Now the pressure's on. The lights are real. He's fighting later on in the day. All that time given to kind of stress out a little bit. It's the same thing for Armen Petrosyan, though, except he's been a little less vocal about his needs and his wants. So therefore, he doesn't have as much camera pressure on him. He's kind of still doing his things. There's a lot of pressure, don't get me wrong, but I do feel like we might see an ego battle here. We might see two dudes step in and say, this is my ring. I'm going to put my foot here and ain't nothing you going to do about it. And that, to me, leads a little bit more towards Petrosyan. I mean, he's a hell of a striker. Kicks are amazing. Utilizes, powerful jab. Utilizes the kicks like crazy, which could lead to a takedown from Borralho. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I see that, man. Do you see Caio coming in and working the ground game, or is he going to be, striking with Petrosyan? We're going to see a kick battle or a kickboxing match right here.
I think that we're going to see a little mixture of both, to be honest with you. But I do think that Caio Borralho, if he's smart, he's going to say, I'm going to do the correct thing. Is I'm going to grapple with this guy. He's a Muay Thai champion. Why am I going to sit here and bang with him? It's literally going, Sean Strickland, I'm fighting a world-class kickboxer. Let me just kickbox with the dude and not do anything else. I think we're learning from our lessons here. So I do think that the takedown is going to be imminent there. If you see, he averages almost 2 takedowns per fight. But here's the big difference that I wanted to take a look at here, AJ. Caio Borralho, he's 5'10" with a 75-inch reach, 4-inch reach advantage over Petrosyan, who is 6'3". With a 71-inch reach. So super tall, super interesting because you're going to have to be punching up at him, but your arms are longer and you have the karate style. So speaking from a guy who's coming from a karate background, you know that you're longer than your reach, basically, than what your listed reach is. You're longer than that because if you're a karate guy, you have that leaping and attack that makes you longer already, but he uses a lot of front kicks and teep kicks to kind of initiate his hands, right? So it's not all just like kick, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to close the distance with the kick and then get into punching range, throwing a couple strikes, then hop back out. Karate, man. Wonder Boy Thompson style, brother. What do you make of it?
Well, and Caio has an amazing blitz style, man.
Yeah.
That karate, it's a thing, man, because when he's bouncy and he has his timing, he can blitz in on you, and you don't even realize until he's in your face throwing the ones and twos and the elbows and everything, man. I do like his blitz style just, off of my own preference. But to a technical kickboxer, you can see that. You can see when they're bouncing, when things are going. You can get the timing going. I don't really know if it's going to pan out well for him. That's what I was a little concerned for the style of fight that Borralho has. As good of a ground game specialist as he is, he knows that the fans and the brass want to see something exciting. So that's really where I get, that's where the trouble lies. I think the crowd and everything's going to will this dude into a standing battle against an absolute killer, man.
Well, I will just say this, man, because I do agree with what you're saying. Like, you're not off on these points here, but let's just take a look at this, man. When you look at, let me see, why are we not scrolling down? Okay, it won't let me scroll down, folks. So sorry. Can you even see that? No, you can't. All right, I'll just let you know then. Sorry about that, folks. Basically, Armen Petrosyan, he's been taken down 5 times in his 2 UFC bouts, Dana White Contender Series and his UFC debut. He won both fights, but he was taken down 5 times. So given that he has been taken down 5 times in 2 short bouts right here, man, I think the odds of him hitting the ground pretty high here. So let's talk props, AJ. If you're a Caio Borralho, you have a couple of different options. You could work the submission prop, plus 250, decision looking at plus 240. If you're Armen Petrosyan, that TKO prop is pretty juicy, that plus 240 TKO prop, which is interesting. They both have the same TKO prop. I find that a little interesting. But the big key is plus 475 for a decision for Armen Petrosyan. So odds makers are saying that we need a finish if you're betting on Petrosyan, and if you're Caio Borralho, decision is the most likely outcome. But look, submission is just 10 points higher than a decision right there. So we're really looking at a decision or a submission. For Petrosyan, since you're rolling that way, how do you see this getting done?
I was with the odds makers in this one. I see a decision or a TKO coming from Petrosyan. I mean, we might be able to see a submission coming from Borralho, and that could be there. And if you're taking Borralho, I assume you're going to take a prop over all of those instead of the minus 190 favorite. But I mean, Petrosyan, that KO is looking a little juicy. It is a safe bet to go with just a money line, but man, I'm looking for a KO. I'm thinking round 2. I think that's going to be the bet I'm placing. Yeah. What about you?
You got to talk to me though, man. Over and under is 1.5 rounds. So when you're going round 2, the question now becomes you have to hit over 7 minutes and 30 seconds for that prop to hit on the over or the under. What are you picking?
I'm going over. I'm going to go over. Give him a little bit more time. We might see some scrambles. We might see some stuff going on. I'm going to take the over, man.
Okay. And you know what, man? Even though this is something that I can totally see happening, like that prop is so juicy, it's right there. I think that Armen Petrosyan, we cannot discount this man. I mean, look at him. If he's never been submitted in his career, you know what I mean? So I'm sure everybody has had the same plan. Take him down, submit him. He's this great striker. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here, and I'm actually going to roll with the Caio Borralho decision victory right here, that plus 240. That's a lot juicier than that minus 190 favorite. And to be honest with you, I do think that Armen Petrosyan, given that he was taken down by Gregory Rodriguez multiple times and he gave up his back against Gregory Rodriguez and didn't get submitted, speaks volumes, because Gregory Rodriguez is a legit black belt right there. So I'll take the over. You're taking the over. I'm going decision for Borralho, and you're going TKO for Petrosyan. So it's something to definitely watch out for. But that is going to be a very fun co-main event.